Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Assessment Alchemist Podcast. My name is Tina Wiles, and I am your host for this episode of the podcast, which is You Didn't Forget, Your Brain Cut You Off, and Here's How to Get It Back. A very long title, but I want to tell you exactly what we're talking about today. Okay, and um, basically what it boils down to is your brain performs differently when you're being evaluated or when you think you're being evaluated. Okay, so you've done the work, you know the material inside and out. In fact, you probably know the material so well you could write a book on it if you were asked. But when you sit down to take the test or you sit down to perform, you freeze. Okay. So why this came up as a topic is because this actually happened to me this week, right? I talk about the stuff that I do in my daily life, right? And I try to apply everything I teach. And I was responding to something on Reddit and about testing. Like I know it inside and out. I've lived testing for 20 years, right? I get it. But at the same time, I couldn't like put into words what I was thinking, right? And I'm sitting there literally frozen, like I can't decide what to do. So luckily, I do what a lot of people do these days. So I'm frozen. I don't know what to do. So I turn to my bestie Claude and like start like typing some things in that to just get myself moving again, right? And realized what I was trying to do was actually come up with the perfect response, right? I wanted this response on Reddit to be useful, to resonate with the person that I was writing it for, and maybe even help other people, right? Like, and I'm asking one little post to do a lot of heavy lifting. So, what I realized as I was writing to Claude is that I was responding like I would to a friend, right? If they asked me. And so that's what I did. Like I talked it out. I like put it all out there and realized that when I'm using my natural voice, when I think that I'm helping a friend, I there was no freeze, right? Like it was all very natural and I knew exactly what I wanted to say. But when I was trying to perform, it was really difficult, right? So the response that I experienced is actually another part of fight or flight, and that's fight, flight, or freeze. Okay. It's not just for testing. So, what freezing feels like is exactly what I experienced, right? I'm staring at it, but I'm second guessing everything that I'm thinking, right? So, that could be staring at a problem on a test and you're second guessing stuck between answer choices and can't move on. It's maybe not starting to study because you don't know where to begin. Like everything is so overwhelming. And you're thinking about not only what you have due tomorrow, but what you have due in 2 weeks. And all of a sudden it feels like things can be caving in. That is a freeze as well. Um, or when someone's watching or you think someone's watching, like not being able to talk about something that you are an expert in, right? So it's not about knowledge, it's about your nervous system. Okay. Um, so I've talked about, you could go to other episodes, I've talked about fight or flight and the whole biological response of it. Well, freeze falls under that too, right? That's one of the natural responses, okay, is a stress response. And so when you're taking a test, the threat your brain is responding to during a test isn't the content, okay? It's the test itself. So maybe you're going to get things wrong, or maybe it's a really big test and you know how important it is, right? So our we don't realize our fight or flight mode is triggered, but it's doing it to protect us because it feels we're in danger, right? And so there are some things that we could do, right? Like the Um, so how to actually recall is thinking about things in your natural voice versus that performance. Like if I was going to explain this to a friend. So, three things that I want to kind of help you if you are stuck in that freeze mode, things that can do. Okay, so one is talking it out to yourself. Obviously, if you're taking a test, you're talking it out in your head. But this, if like a question is worded in a way that you're struggling or not sure what it's asking, try rephrasing the question in a way that you would explain it if you were talking to a young child, right? Like basically take it out of test speak of how the question is worded and translate it into English. And so the easiest way for me to explain how to do that is to think about it as you're trying to describe it or teach it to a friend or a child. Okay. You'll know a lot more than you think you do, and it'll help you get through that freeze aspect. Okay. The second thing you can do is lower the stakes in your mind. Okay. So I know sometimes this is easier than it sounds. But like when I was putting all this pressure on one little post, it's like, you know what? It's actually nothing. I'd like to help and have it resonate, but I'm also just trying to throw in my 2 cents and maybe help someone out. So I took away all the heavy lifting that I was trying to have the Reddit post do for me. So, like just basically thinking like this isn't a huge test. This is just me demonstrating my knowledge. Like I just need to show that I know what I know. And trying to lower the temperature a little bit of what the test might feel like. And then um, the the last thing would be resetting, right? So I reset by going and like rephrasing and like I took a couple deep breaths and tried to center myself. Got up, walked around a little bit for some like physical activity. So obviously you can't necessarily do that if you're taking a test, but if you're trying to do like 2 to 3 deep breaths, I've talked about it several times. One of my favorite breath tricks is to feel the temperature when you're breathing. So you're going to take a deep breath in through your nose, exhale through your nose. You can take that breath all the way down into your tummy. And while you're taking those 2 or 3 deep breaths, focus on the temperature of the air. When you inhale, the air is going to be cooler than when you exhale. And just tuning in to that small sensory detail while you're taking the breaths and activating your vagus nerve and all this other kind of sciencey stuff, right, is going to help you reset and help you recenter and be in the right frame of mind and help you unfreeze. Okay. So the beautiful thing about fight, flight, or freeze mode is that there are things that we can do to help when we don't even realize we're in it, right? Like, and if we always use these same rituals, it becomes habitual so that when you don't realize it's going on, but you feel some of the feelings that you feel that kind of you don't realize it's fight or flight mode, but it's the stress that you feel. But when you start to feel those feelings, if you're practicing these, like I was going to say meditation, but when you're practicing these mindset, right, and these like centering things, like the reset ritual or trying to lower the stakes in your mind, if you're doing those things all the time, then when you're actually in the pressure moment, it comes naturally. You don't have to think about using it. It's just a tool that you're already using. Um, so, um, just to sum up, if you're taking a test and you freeze, know that the freeze is not because you don't know the material. Um, it could be, but most likely it's not. Like that, honestly, sometimes it is, but if you freeze when you're going and looking at something that you know, like I don't know this, I know this equation, but I can't think of the equation that I need, like that kind of feeling. Um, that is just your fight or flight mode. So try to rephrase it in English versus test speak, lower the stakes in your mind, or use a reset ritual to help you recenter. So, if any of this resonates or feels like it's something that you're experiencing, please go take. I have a less than 2 minute quiz on what type of test taker are you. You can find it on my website, mytutor.com. That's my the number 2 tor.com. And I hope that helps. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Assessment Alchemist podcast. And I'll catch you next week.